Hey Aries, welcome to your 2019 Sidereal Astrology yearly forecast. So, this year there's going to be two key areas of emphasis for you. One is going to be where Jupiter is, which is going to be in your 8th house. So Jupiter likes to expand, and so Jupiter is going to be expanding the area that has to do with all of your deeper values in life. What truly matters most, likely a lot of wisdom coming in around matters pertaining to life and death, the beginnings and endings, what truly matters, and how to really become more vulnerable with life and with self, which then leads to greater freedom, transformation, and empowerment, which really is going to, I think, be a very large hallmark of the year. So with that transit, we also have a lot of emphasis on your 9th house, and so this is the house of travel, of adventure, of philosophy, of our belief systems. And this is the South Node, Saturn, and Pluto. So there's a bit of quite a serious energy involving this. And I think a lot of it will be releasing some patterns here, maybe some old belief systems, some old perspectives, some patterns regarding freedom. And that's going to create a lot of freedom there for you. All right, so this along with Uranus going into your sign of Aries in April. So, a lot of inner work has been done the past like 10 years. And so now with Uranus in your sign, you'll probably find a bit of this freedom of being your true self, more of freedom of self-expression, trying unique and different things, getting a bit of excitement and spontaneity into life with that independent side of yourself that'll likely be very activated. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so Aries, here's your chart for the year. We are just looking at the outer planets here. Of course, if you want to look at the fast movers, do watch the daily horoscopes that I do. If you're new to the channel, you can click subscribe or that bell button down below to stay up to date on those. But this should give you a good overview of the year and the key areas of emphasis. Now, you should notice here that the signs are very different from mainstream astrology. We are using the actual size of the constellations. So this does change the signs from mainstream. So if you do notice the signs are different or you are new to the channel, do check that link down below for more information on True Sidereal. That's what we're using here. And you do want to make sure you're watching this for your sidereal sign. So you want to make sure your sun, moon, or ascendant is in fact in Aries here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start with January, because there's a lot going on in January. And a lot of it's going to be carrying into the rest of the year, one of which is the solar eclipse we're going to have on January 5th. And this is going to be a solar eclipse in that 9th house. Again, there's going to be a lot going on in this house of expanding your worldview, your beliefs. For some of you, long distance travel, some of you, higher learning. Now, there's a lot of maybe limitations here with this area because Saturn's here. So it's all about working within your limitations of what's possible and limitations of our belief systems, and really grounding our inspirations and possibilities in a way that's realistic and grounded. And if things are important to you, like travel or adventure at this time, it can certainly be achieved, it can be done, but it'll likely be in a way that requires responsibility and discipline. Maybe even some of you like traveling for your work, for example, which combines the more grounded energy with the free-spirited energy. So really good to do that with Saturn, and I would say with Pluto all year, as it has been really past like 10 years, continue to face fears with this. Face fears with your own belief systems, your own perspectives, your adventurous side. Face fears with anything that you feel like is adventurous or inspiring or invokes that spirit for life, but maybe there's some fears there. And explore that. It's going to be an excellent, excellent year for this. So starting off in January, there's some releasing here, the solar eclipse with the South Node, maybe releasing some past beliefs, maybe releasing some limiting beliefs, releasing some fears maybe with Pluto associated with this stuff. That can be very, very freeing for you. Now on point, let's talk about the lunar eclipse, which will be January 21st, and that's going to be involving your 4th house here. And this is an area that's already been emphasized in 2018, and this is the area of our roots. And so maybe some awareness and maybe even some things culminating involving home, maybe family or your health if there's been a focus on that in 2018. Now, the reason for this is, again, about balance. Because while a lot is shifting with your adventurous, freeing side, your inspiring side, it's important to maintain roots, right? Because we can't have real freedom in life without good roots and without a good connection to our inner being and our emotions and our feelings and all of this. And so there's been maybe some lessons around this the past year, and a lot of this will be finalizing, particularly up until about April, once the North Node finishes the transit of Cancer here. And with the lunar eclipse in January, maybe some awareness about some of these important emotional values, intrinsic values, and the importance of these roots in life. All right, so then let's look at all the eclipses for the year, because they'll be associated with these areas. So the next set of eclipses will be in July. And so there's going to be in the same areas, except the North Node will have now transitioned into Gemini. So what you'll likely notice, prior to this in April, when the North Node goes into Gemini, around April, there's probably going to be a bit of a shift of maybe some lessons around the importance of getting into your practical side. And this is where the real opposition is between Sagittarius, where all this is shifting and changing with your beliefs and perspectives. We're balancing that with what's practical. And so April onward, what can you do that's like learning practical knowledge? Maybe doing some reading, some writing, some courses, practical courses, technical courses, for example. Maybe communication, the importance of communication, connecting with your neighbors or your peers or your siblings. Business and trade, also very practical. So whatever it is for you, great to explore this area, learn about it, be willing to make mistakes with it, and just be willing to learn, I think, is best way of working with the North Node in Gemini. And this practical stuff is going to help balance out this more expansive stuff. So yeah, in July, it's probably when you're going to start to feel a new beginning with this. So July 2nd, solar eclipse with Gemini, with the North Node, suggesting maybe some new beginnings. So any new intentions you want to set at this time, maybe some of you might decide to write a book. Some of you might take a new course, whatever it is here. Great to slowly start to build this momentum coming out of the early part of July. Now, July 16th, we then have the lunar eclipse, which will be, again, in that 9th house. And this will be a culmination of anything that started in January involving this area. That releasing I was talking about, there could be now maybe something coming to the forefront. It may also have to do with releasing. Again, it'll likely be some sort of shift or transition. Again, maybe releasing some limiting things with it being so close to Saturn. Releasing some fears, beliefs, perspectives that are no longer serving you. All right, it's really going to be a hallmark of the year. And there could certainly be a positive shift in the right direction with it, where, again, your beliefs and your freeing side and your adventure side becoming more balanced and harmonious as you release some of these patterns. Right? These past life patterns, really, that are maybe cycles that you've noticed in your life. Really pay attention to your cycles involving this area, because those cycles are breaking. You'll be breaking them, and you'll be releasing a lot of that karmic energy there. All right, so those are the eclipses, and we start to come into the new eclipse season at the very end of 2019 in December, because we will have a solar eclipse on December 26th. And so this will be in Sagittarius, and I believe this is going to be the final eclipse involving, or the final solar eclipse involving the South Node here. So finishing up the year, and you could see this is going into 2020, there will be, again, this new step in the right direction, but this time with Jupiter here. And so there's going to be some maybe newfound sense of spirit, newfound beliefs, newfound philosophies, perspectives on life, as you finalize the year and head into 2020. All right, so those are the eclipses. Very important for the year. Let's go ahead and go back to January here and take a look at some of these aspects that we have. So we have two important aspects this year. One is going to be Jupiter squaring up to Neptune, and the other is going to be Saturn sextiling up to Neptune. So these are all starting in January and pretty much going throughout the rest of the year. So starting at the beginning of the year, with all these aspecting Neptune, I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis placed on this. If you have any dreams or ideals about the future, or if you've had dreams or ideals about the future for, again, maybe the past 10 years, And it's a great year for building these things because the square to Jupiter is going to help you really do the work, or at least give you the opportunity to do the work. There might be a natural tendency to, just collectively this year for all of us, to want to hide away or escape or over or under optimistic about dreams and ideals and things with the square. But squares are about building. And that's when it really becomes constructive. When you're really building towards these future aspirations, whatever it is. Some of you maybe group things or community things or technological, innovative things that are greater than yourself, these dreams or ideals you may have about that, or again, personal ideals. Really good year for building. And not only with the square, but Saturn is a harmonious aspect to it, and Saturn is the builder. So a bit of flow there with the area, a bit of concretizing, structure being built with these future aspirations. And where Jupiter is in that 8th house, what's going to also facilitate this process is all of this opportunity you have throughout the year to do this deep diving. You know, all year, all the way up until November, with Jupiter in your 8th. Likely a lot of deep things arising, but you'll see them in such a way that's a bit open-minded or optimistic. Makes it easy to work with, easier to work with. Because you have that kind of, you're not in it, you're kind of seeing it philosophically from the top-down perspective. So great year for becoming aware of your deeper self, your shadow self, if you will, your unconscious, your fears, traumas. These are all examples. Your psychological self. And really accept all of these aspects of the self. Maybe aspects of the self that you've pushed away or exiled, that as you accept, you become more integrated, more holistic, and freer as a result. And that's what Jupiter is going to help you do. Break some patterns, break some cycles, free yourself of any limiting situations. You may have some opportunities from others, maybe others wanting to help you out, maybe financially or just support in general. Maybe opportunities for loans. Shared resources has a bit of this, maybe open-mindedness, which can create opportunities there. So that is where the expansion is taking place. All right, so that is the most important stuff. Actually, Uranus, right? So Uranus going into Aries in April. So very important for your sign because it's Aries. So Uranus coming into your 1st house. This is all about now accessing, for about the next 5 years, more of your true self. With Uranus in your 12th, the past 10 years, there's a lot of you have likely been, maybe it's been hard to relax. Maybe it's been having to surrender and have faith and trust in order to really access your true self and to have freedom in life. And a lot of you are finalizing that by April and finalizing that spiritual work. But now he comes into a much more comfortable area, Aries and the 1st house, which has to do with you now physically embodying this true self. Before it was about embodying it spiritually with your being, but now it's with the doing, right? So great year, April onward, listening to your excitement, trying new and different things, being spontaneous, unorthodox, right? All of this kind of stuff. Even progressive, innovative, scientific things. Really good to be developing in yourself. And I would say just expressing yourself, freedom of self-expression, really being the theme moving forward. All right, so that is the year. And like we said, you know, Jupiter is going to be in that 8th house up until November. So when November does come around, Jupiter is going to go into that 9th. And so where you've had more of this, again, serious kind of energy involving these higher matters or your beliefs or your spirit for life, Jupiter goes into domicile here, where Jupiter rules in Sagittarius, adding a bit of buoyancy to the area. So going into 2020, a great time for expanding your worldview, expanding your horizons, seeing potentials there with that. And it'll be probably it'll be a mix. There'll still be that grounded earth energy of Saturn and facing of fears with Pluto, but Jupiter coming in really kind of boosts that up and inspires that area a bit. All right, so Aries, have a fantastic 2019. Thank you for watching. So down below, there is a discount for a personal reading if you do want to look for you personally for 2019. There's also a link on the page for that as well if you want to check that out. But thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you all next time for the daily forecast. Take care.